Hello, I'm Judith Richards. I'm the creator of the Richards Trauma Process, or TRTP. So where does TRTP come from? Well, it came as a result of my own ridiculous life journey through all sorts of trauma. I was born the youngest of a large Catholic family, and did I mention I was Catholic? I could tell you lots of stories about Catholic priests and nuns. And then I worked my way up through stalkers. I worked my way up through relationships that were less than healthy, shall we say. I worked my way up until I found myself with a homicidal psychopath who was into torture. And I was in the clutches of that person for about 9 years. At the end of that time, the surgeons put my body back together as best they could and said I would never be healthy, that I would be in constant pain and ill health, physically as well as mentally, for the rest of my probably very short life. I set out to prove them wrong. I learnt everything I could. I stayed away from pharmaceuticals. I stayed away from psych wards. I wanted to find a way through, and I did. I would go and learn everything I could. I'd bring it back. I'd use it on myself. That bit works, the rest is rubbish. Go and throw it out and learn something else. Eventually, I became more mentally well. Physically, I was still in a bad way. And I was very surprised and disappointed one day when I woke up without my mind. My mind just went AWOL. People say, well, what does that look like? Well, I went mad. I was split. I was living in hallucinations. I was psychotic. I was very suicidal. But that was a blessing that year. I was determined to be well. I brought together everything I'd learned plus more. And I came up with this step-by-step process. I found a way to get out of what I used to call avalanches of memory, which most people call flashbacks, and change it so that they became less frequent and less frequent. My body became more and more physically well. At the end of that year, I had this process down pat, and I started using it with others who'd been traumatized with great results. And then it was only after that I discovered hypnosis. I discovered there's fast, there's slow. I wanted fast and the most effective. I went and learnt that. And I added my step-by-step process in the hypnosis, and it became turbocharged. It became like therapy on steroids. Then I had to find out, was it just me, because of my trauma history, that could take the other traumatized person through to liberation from their pain? Or could others do this? Was it reproducible? So I set out to find someone who had never been traumatized, who'd lived a charmed life, and was not the most sensitive blade of grass in the paddock, if you know what I mean. And he, after I taught him, came back very quickly with results that he described as staggering. I then taught others, and they too were coming back with the same similar results. It was definitely something that could be passed on and taught. So that's what we're doing now. My background, I'm not a psychologist. My first tertiary studies were at the Conservatorium of Music in Brisbane. After that, I was a stage manager, a lighting designer and stage manager for opera companies. And then I studied some sports physiology. I didn't complete that degree. I was busy being tortured at the time. So I'm not a psychologist. TRTP is based in real, true, extreme trauma of the worst kind, and liberation from that. So that's where TRTP comes from. Thank you.